Hey, everybody. Welcome to the GMI Rocket Show. I'm your host, Roman Zelichenko, former immigration lawyer turned entrepreneur. I am the co-founder and CEO of Laborless, an immigration tech platform that automates H-1B visa and PERM compliance, and also the founder of GMI Rocket, a digital marketing agency for the immigration and global mobility industry that, of course, brings you this show. Today, our guest is Eduardo Silva, who is the managing director of a company called Lex Documents. Lex Documents is a company that basically supports global companies that move people around the world with immigration documentation support and business visa support. So everything from procuring all sorts of documents that you might need for a visa. So think like birth certificates, marriage certificates, diplomas, etc. They translate them, they can legalize them or apostille them depending on where they are and where those documents are going. They help with getting passports. They help with embassy or consulate appointments. They do all of the on-the-ground work. So and they support not only companies but also immigration law firms as well. So it's a very interesting company that provides a much needed service that we don't talk about, frankly, which is why I'm so excited to have Eduardo on my show for, by the way, episode number 152. But before we bring on Eduardo, I do want to say a quick thank you to the main sponsor of this episode, e-immigration by Serenade. So here's the thing about e-immigration, right? So immigration law in general and immigration law software has seen a lot of consolidation lately. Immigration case management companies that started as independent businesses have mostly been bought up and folded into bigger companies that don't all necessarily even focus on immigration. So that's where e-immigration is different. They've been doing this for over 30 years and they're still family run, they're still independent. You can still call them and a real person who understands how immigration law firms work will actually pick up the phone. On the tech side, they've been built genuinely smart tech into their platform, like AI assisted intakes, automated form prep, case tracking that keeps all of your deadlines visible across your entire docket. And e-immigration is so good that their research shows that firms that use it grow 3 times faster than the industry average. So they're an awesome tool. They're a great team. I know them personally as well. A few things. If you book a demo with them through the link in the show notes, they will also donate $25 to Mobile Pathways, which is a nonprofit organization that does really great work in the immigration law space that I'm also part of. And if you sign up with them, you get your first month for free. So check them out. Go to eimmigration.com/GMI or use the link in the show notes. And thank you to e-immigration for supporting the show. And without further ado, Eduardo, I'm so happy to see you here, my friend. Thank you so much for joining. And I'm excited to share your story and learn things about you and talk about Lex Documents.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Roman. It's a real honor to be here in your show. Thank you for having me.
Of course. It's one of those things where sometimes guests are people I've just met. Other times guests are people who I've known for years. In this case, that's you. And that happens sometimes. And honestly, it's still great because I get to learn about, the guest, new things that we certainly don't talk about on a normal day-to-day basis. So right now you're in Spain, right? But I love to dive into the guest's kind of background and history if I can first. So let's, you were born in Colombia. Let's talk a little bit about that. How did you end up in Colombia? How did your family end up in Colombia? Like, what's the background story for your family's immigration?
So yeah, I'm right now in Barcelona. It's nice. It's 7 p.m. right now in Barcelona, so it's Friday, so it's great. But yeah, the story, Roman. I was born in Colombia, but I think my story and why I was born there and my relationship with immigration and global mobility comes from my grandfather. My second name, I don't know if you know this, Roman, but my second name is Bickenbach.
Mm-hmm.
So I have German origin as well. So my immigration story starts with my grandfather, who was born in German. He was relocated at that time. I think that was 1930s or 1935s. He was actually I think he used to work for a hardware company, and he was relocated to to Colombia in
Wow.
1930, 1935. And before we came live, I was like trying to remember exactly what was his story, and what I asked my mom, and actually he jumped in a cargo boat, in a cargo ship. He didn't fly it. The relocations at that time happened in cargo ships, I think.
Right.
So he jumped in a cargo ship, I don't know, 2 3 weeks to Colombia. He arrived to the Caribbean in, I think it was Cartagena or Barranquilla. These big ports in Colombia. And once he arrived to Colombia, he had to jump in another boat, steamboat, through a river who is called the River Magdalena. I don't know if we have any Colombian audience right now, but the Magdalena River is a huge river in Colombia. It was like the highway
Wow.
in those years. So he jumped in a steamboat. I don't know how many weeks he had to travel through Colombia until he arrived to Bogota. That's like the capital city. There he met my grandmother, a Colombian woman, and that's where all my family comes from.
Wow. By the
So
way, so it's incredible that he got out before like World War II started.
yeah,
I
and
mean, you know,
actually, I think things in Germany were really bad at that time. I don't know if I think that World War II
mhm.
didn't start yet, but it happened when he was in Colombia, and actually he had to renounce to his German nationality because they were asking him to come back to fight.
Oh, wow.
So he had to renounce to his German nationality. He became 100% Colombia, and actually he became a really important person in Bogota, in Colombia. He was really successful there in Colombia. So he meets my grandmother. My mother was born. My dad, he was born in Colombia, and I was born in 1975. I'm old, Roman. Actually, my birthday was last week, and I didn't receive your gift.
The gift is coming. It's in the mail.
It's in the mail. So yeah, my relationship starts with the relocation, 1930s relocation of my grandfather to Colombia. So we've been always involved with global mobility and immigration. That's where we come from. I think I lost you, Roman. There you're back. I lost you,
Hey,
right? Was it me or was it you?
it was me. Sorry.
Okay, okay.
Technical difficulties here in the office today.
Direct.
So yeah, happy belated birthday, but also most importantly, it's you know it's crazy and really amazing that your grandfather knew maybe he knew what was happening and he kind of went away for that reason.
Yeah, there were
Maybe
bad times, and they were struggling in Germany those days.
yeah. Do you know if, by the way, do you know if he had family still that was left in Germany?
I think he does. Actually, my brother Hernando, I think you know him. He last year he went to visit his. I have what's the name of the city he was born? It was Solingen. Solingen was the city he was born. So last year, I think my brother went with his family to try
Mhm.
like to trace his family, and I believe
Wow.
they found some family there from some Bickenbacks.
It's and and it's crazy specifically because again, like obviously what happened with Germany during that time is it's sad, but it's amazing that he got away. And also the fact that he renounced it, he probably, I mean, I don't know, there was no social media back then, but news was coming up of what was happening in Germany, and the fact that your grandfather said, I'm not going back there, like I'm staying here.
No. He was
Yeah.
not going back.
Yeah. What so you said, before we move on to like, your father and then eventually kind of how that your family transitioned over to Spain, you mentioned that your grandfather became an important person, very successful. What did he do? Like, what was his kind of rise to success in
So
in Colombia.
The family stories that he started with a hardware
Hmm.
company. He was representing a hardware company that became really important in Bogota and nationally in Colombia. And then he got involved with the government and politics. So he became like a member of the ministry. So he was really well known. Then he bought a lot of land in Colombia, and he
Hmm.
started like farming, and he had a lot of cows, milk cows.
Hmm.
And
Wow.
that's where actually we were born in this farm. So my young years, my memories are from this big farm with cows and horses and a lot of animals and the mountains. So I have good memories from my young years.
That's amazing. Uh, I feel like that's a whole entrepreneurial story in and of itself because he came as an immigrant to Colombia and did all of this.
And it was a relocation. We work every day with relocations and global mobility. So this was a relocation
Yeah,
in
right.
1930s. I need to investigate what documents were
Yeah.
required for him, or if he was required to do a consular visa, or I need to investigate that part.
That would be cool if you can even find them. You could frame them and hang them in your office.
Let's see. Maybe they ask
So
for a birth certificate or something.
so okay, and then that's on your mother's side, and then your father's side was from Colombia, and obviously they and then you were born. What was it like for you? I mean, you grew up in Bogota in Colombia.
So I grew up in Bogota. We lived many years in my grandfather's farms. It was so big that he gave like a piece of land to all his sons. So my
Hmm.
mother there were four in the family of my mother. So each son had like a piece of land. We built a house, and those were like my early years. This was
Wow.
like 45 minutes from Bogota,
Hmm.
and we used to go every morning to school by car. So the logistics were complicated, but I remember coming back from school to this farm with I could ride horses. We had some motorbikes. I could walk through the mountain with the dogs. So I have, as I said, I have good memories of these younger years. Then when I started like getting older, I started like I wanted to be in the city with my
Right.
friends.
Yeah.
I started to chase girls. So I had a girlfriend. I wanted to be near her. So that's when also my brothers were getting old. So we moved to the city.
Mm.
And
Were you? Oh, go ahead.
no, 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 I was going to tell you, I went to school in Bogota. I went through a couple of schools in Bogota, but
Hmm.
I ended my high school. Um, to be honest, I was not the best student, Roman,
Hmm.
but I tried to manage it. But at the last 2 years, my dad said, "Listen, you have to leave Bogota. You have to go to a military school." So he sent me to a military school in the States. I don't know
Wow.
if I told you about this. This was in South Bend, Indiana.
Wow.
Uh, I don't know if anybody in the audience from this state, from Indiana, but it's a small town called South Bend, and the school name it's Culver Military Academy. So it was a military academy. It's supposed to be a military, even though it was really strict, but I think it was the best time of my young life.
Wow.
These 2 years I spent in the States.
And by the way, this was kind of the first time that you've left the country.
That
As
was
it,
my first time I left Colombia.
so what was that like? I mean, did you speak any English? You came to this military academy where there are other Spanish speaking students.
Yeah, I was in a bilingual school in Colombia. So this is very,
Mm.
very typical in Colombia. Most of the schools, like, they put a lot of efforts in English. This doesn't happen in Spain. This is something I'm struggling right now with my boys here in Spain. But in Colombia, most of the schools, they're like bilingual, and they put a lot of focus and efforts in teaching English. So when I arrived to the States, I already could speak and could manage and
Hmm.
defend myself.
Hmm.
but I really learned my English there. Obviously, when I arrived to this school, it was full of Mexicans, people from Latin America, from all over the world. So at the end of the day, you end up speaking Spanish more than English. But I met a lot of nice people, made really good connections. Even though I think there's people I still work with that I met from this time in school that
Wow.
helped me in some of these countries. That so it was a really nice experience.
So when you said that you weren't, maybe a great student, did you think about your future at all? Did you think, oh, I don't need to go to school. I'll run a business one day, or I'll run a farm one day, or did you just not think about it at all?
No,
You know?
I've always been trying. I know I've always been an entrepreneur. I always been thinking in business. I know you need. I tell this to my boys. You have to go to college. You have to study. But at the end of the day, if you're an entrepreneur, if you want to build a business, actually, you don't have to go to university. You don't need to be successful in life or to build a business. So I always was thinking in business, trying to work, to build things. So that's like my entrepreneur life started really early.
Do you remember what some of maybe your early kind of businesses were, even if it was something like
Yeah.
buying and selling some equipment or whatever?
I remember we were building a web page. I think this was the year 2000, the .com boom.
Bubble, yeah.
And it was something like Ticketmaster, Ticketmaster, that they sell tickets. And I still remember the name. It was ticketenter.com. So we started, this was actually before the business I was building, working with some friends before moving to Spain. And I can still remember how difficult it was to build a web page. You had to program it, design it, automate. It was so difficult to build a web page, and we were trying to sell tickets, to football games, to concerts, to I don't know, theater events through the internet. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know if Ticketmaster existed at that time. That was an idea we had with friends. It never went well. We had some issues with some partners, the people who were the investors. So something went wrong with the partners. But that was like my last business before moving to Spain. So once it didn't went well, that's when I moved to Spain.
Wow. You could have been a .com billionaire.
Yeah. I don't know when Ticketmaster was funded.
I just looked it up quickly.
Created.
Ticketmaster was founded actually in 1976, but they sold machinery first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but not as a website. They sold like ticket machines. That's why. And then it probably the question. The real question is, when did Ticketmaster become the website that it is today? So you were definitely one of the early ones. That's so interesting. And it's funny, just as a side note, when I was a teenager, the year 2000, I was 13 years old. I was born in 1987. And my family got a computer, I think, when I was maybe 12. And for some reason, maybe they did this on purpose, maybe there just was nowhere else to put it, the family computer was in my bedroom. So, this was the days of America Online. This is the days when you would get CDs shipped to your apartment with, 1 month free of internet access, or a computer game. Or like Windows 95, kind of CDs or something. And at that time, I was building websites as well for fun. I was learning how to code. I was learning how to build. I made websites about my favorite rappers, my favorite musicians,
okay. Wow.
just for fun, And it's funny because I think about it sometimes. A lot of the big tech company founders from like the year 2008, 2009, and later, they all started around the same time, but they didn't give it up. When I was 14 years old, I went through puberty. I wanted to hang out with my friends, and I left all the computer stuff at home. And sometimes I think to myself, man, I should have
You
I should have stayed and done it.
stayed in that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. And how
So
difficult it was to code a website, right?
it was very difficult. Yeah, there was no chat GPT. That, even the books, you had to buy books, or you had to buy. I had a website. I won't go into all the details, but I had a website. Sorry, a program where you could design the website, and then on a different tab it gives you the code. But the code was not very good, so you still had to learn how to fix it. And the internet was not what it was. It was a fun time. But back to you. You're building this business. It's the year 2000. You're in your early 20s, basically, and you mentioned that when this business didn't really work out, you moved to Spain. Let's back up a little bit and talk about how did your dad end up moving to Spain? What was he doing in Colombia that then led him to move to Spain? Because that will eventually become the story of Lex
Exactly.
Documents.
So my dad worked in a brick factory, bricks to build
Mm-hmm.
houses and
Mm-hmm.
and buildings. And there was a major financial crisis in Colombia, year 2001, 2002, big. Colombia's always in financial crisis, but this was really big financial crisis. So he had to shut down this brick factory, and thankfully he was appointed as a Colombian consul in Valencia in the year 2003, I think. So it was like perfect timing for him. He
Mm-hmm.
got appointed as the Colombian consul in Valencia. So that's when he comes to Spain with my brother, with Hernando, and my mom. Behind we stayed. We are four brothers. Hernando, actually, my brother Hernando, he has a twin brother who's called Felipe, and I have a sister who is called Andrea.
Mm-hmm.
So Andrea, Felipe, and myself, we stayed back in Colombia, and my dad, with my mother and Hernando, came to Valencia in the year
Mm-hmm.
2003. That's when, actually, when they arrived, my brother, he didn't have anything to do here in Spain, so he started working and helping my dad at the consulate. I think
Mm-hmm.
this is for 1 year, 1.5 years. And the story behind Lex Roman is the real story, is that he started noticing that the consulate was not helping Colombians in Valencia. So there were actually a lot of immigration and a lot of Colombians living here in Spain that wanted to get their residence, or wanted to get married, or they wanted to get their nationality, and they needed documents from Colombia. So they needed to Spain, the Spain government asked for police clearance, asked for birth certificate, asked for legalization, and the consulate in Colombia did not do this. So when everybody went to the consulate and, listen, I need these documents, I want to get married, or I have a residence appointment, the consulate was turning back everybody. Listen, we cannot do this. You have to call your family, you have to call your grandmother, you have to call someone in Colombia, ask your family member to go to the notary or go to the civil register or to the town where you were born, get the document, get it legalized, and ask them to ship it. And my brother, has always been a businessman and entrepreneur as well, he said, listen, why don't we start this business and start offering this service to all the Colombians, people who are coming to the consulate, and help them. So he opened a small office. At the beginning, it was a real small office below the consulate. This was a building. He opened a small office below the consulate,
Mm-hmm.
and starting, I don't know if he even went upstairs to the consulate, spoke to people, and brought down the people, made in an Excel sheet, made the order, got the money, paid, then called a friend in Colombia. Listen, I need you to go to this town or to this city, get this document, get it legalized, and send it back to me. So I think it was that simple at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So
By the
the
way, did you help? Did you help at all when you were in
I
Colombia? Like, did
maybe
your brother
yeah
ever?
maybe that's a good question, Roman. Maybe I did something for the company from Bogota at the beginning,
Yeah.
and this started to gain traction. More people started getting the services. My brother said, I cannot cope with this amount of requests I'm getting. people are desperate to get the documentation, and that's when the company starts getting traction. It
Hmm.
was actually, it was called Latin Express at the beginning.
Hmm.
Then I think my dad, he was consul for I think 2 years. When my dad finished his consulate, he joined the company. He saw
Mm.
the business. He wanted to stay in Valencia. My mother wanted to stay. We didn't want to go back to Colombia. We didn't want to go back to Bogota. So he joined the company my brother was building. I was helping from Bogota, and when I saw that the company was going well, that's when I decide, listen, I'm flying to Valencia. I want to help you. I want to start opening an office in Spain. And that's when I arrived to Valencia. I think I lived in Valencia for 3 months, and I had friends in Barcelona. This was the year 2005. Maybe I was 25 years old. So that's when I come to Barcelona. I opened the Barcelona office, really small office. I remember going to the consulate with what's you call it, flyers, with the papers with
Hmm.
the information. That's flyers. We call it here in Spain
Yes. Yeah.
flyers. I
Yeah.
used to go to the queue and give everybody a card or a flyer with the information. Get the clients, go back with the clients to my small office, and do the order or sell the
Wow.
service in an Excel sheet, and call. We had a small office in Bogota at that time, and send the service to Bogota. So, and that's how we started. Then we opened Madrid. Then we opened Bilbao. Then we opened in the Canary Islands. So we had like five, six small
Wow.
offices, totally focused in B2C. This was totally individuals, immigration. There's a big boom of immigration, especially Colombians here in Spain.
Were you only supporting Colombians at the time, or did you
At the
start
time,
helping other? Yeah.
we only Colombians, but I think we started helping people from Ecuador as well, from Venezuela, because I think there were more people from Ecuador, from Colombia at that time. So we started doing some Ecuador, but Colombia was like 90% of our clients, Colombian immigrants.
And in the beginning, especially okay, in Colombia, you grew up there. Your family is from there. You have connections. You have people you trust. Now you have a few of these, potential clients from Ecuador, from Peru, whatever the case may be. How did you find trustworthy individuals in those countries to get the documents in the early days?
You mean about the people helping me in their country of
Yeah,
origin?
in the country origin. Yeah,
But in Bogota, we had our own office.
right.
I don't remember in Ecuador. I think Ecuador was like the second big country we were operating. I don't know if I can't remember if they had our own office, or maybe we found a connection or a friend, or
Hmm.
I think at the beginning the business was built through friends, through I
Yeah,
know him, through connections. What do you do? I need to work. Okay, you need to work. I need you to go do the logistics, go to this government. So it was really simple.
yeah. Interesting.
So we just making the connection of the people who didn't have like families, or did not want to call nobody there, and we had the operations team. So it was really simple at the beginning, Roman, but we had
Yeah.
a lot of work, a lot of work.
It's amazing how much small businesses are built on trust, about on personal connections and communications. We had a couple of comments actually. Marco Scano, who actually said, "Great story. My grandfather was
Wow.
from Sogamoso in Colombia as well." So that's really cool. Thank you
Boyacá,
for
nah,
sharing,
I think
Marco.
I've been there. Great, great,
Yeah,
Marco.
that's really cool. And we have Roberto Weir saying perfect location, probably about you in Valencia. So now you mentioned that you were mostly working B2C, mostly for folks coming out of Colombia, but then you start expanding. And then, of course, this is around, 2005, 2006. And then, of course, the Great Recession happens,
There was a
2006,
great
2007,
recession.
2008.
Yeah, 2008, there was a big recession here in Europe and Spain, and all these immigrants started losing their jobs. There was no jobs, and people started going back home or going up north in Europe. But it was like from in 6 months, it was crazy, the people who left the country. So this hit us really hard. We were very focused on immigration and individuals. So this recession really hit us. And that's exactly like this made us, as you know, Roman, like pivot the company, and we started thinking, now what are we going to do? And that's when we said, listen, why don't we start working or start helping big companies or big immigration firms, people, companies or mobility firms that are still having some traction and doing some work. So that's like a big turning, a pivot point for the company. We did a rebranding. That's when we started calling the company Lex Documents, more international. We didn't focus just in Spain. We started targeting companies in the UK, in Germany, not only Spain, Belgium, and that's when today's Lex Documents company was built and started.
Amazing. I love that. And by the way, around 2007, 2008 is when a lot of today's large companies were born out of the necessity of what happened.
That exactly.
Before we move on, I just want to take a very quick pause and say thank you to the second sponsor of this show, of this episode, which is ProfVal. So ProfVal is a company that provides expert opinion letters, professional plans, and immigration business plans for immigration petitions. So on the U.S. side, so they support EB1 visas, EB2 national interest waivers, H1Bs, L1s, O1s, E2s, EB5s, and so many more. ProfVal helps immigration attorneys strengthen petitions. They provide research-backed documentations that are prepared specifically for the visa category and the case strategy in mind. As far as their expert opinion letters, they're signed by qualified, of course, U.S.-based experts, and they're designed to basically explain how a petitioner's, credentials, roles, field endeavor, et cetera, is clear for USCIS. They provide professional plans and business plans, that attorneys will use for clients, E2s, EB5s, et cetera, that also support the petition. So for any immigration lawyers that are listening to this, if you handle any one of those cases and you need a professional plan for the individual, or you need an immigration business plan for their, E2, EB5, L1 new office, maybe their O1 visa, et cetera, check out ProfVal. And by the way, for anybody who orders a professional plan or business plan or opinion letter from the show, they get $75 off. So use the link in the show notes. Check out ProfVal, and huge thank you to them for supporting this show. Cool. Thank you. So, Eduardo, 2008, you guys now go from Latin Express. You're helping B2C. You're helping people mostly, from Colombia and a few other countries come to Spain. You've now rebranded to Lex Documents. You're B2B. You're going after, the idea is let's go after companies that are, not recession proof, but they're still moving people throughout the recession so that your business stays alive. How do you do this transition? I mean, did any companies know you? Did immigration law firms know you? It's a great idea, but an idea, it only takes you so far, right? You have to get those first clients. So how did you guys do that in the beginning?
The spark, I think the real turning point, and I still remember this, was a lead. A lead that came through a website. We did a rebranding from the website. It was totally, the copy, everything was focused to immigration firms, mobility companies, relocation companies. And this was this lawyer from a big, I cannot tell the name here, but this huge immigration firm. And he sent a lead, listen, I need urgently a birth certificate from Madrid for one of my clients. Thankfully we did a superb work and service for this immigration lawyer. And he said, listen, you were so good. I've been struggling to get this document. I've been struggling to get this document legalized and translated, or anybody to answer me. Nobody's answering. Nobody tells me anything. You've done such a great work. I want you to fly to our headquarters and meet the partners.
Wow.
So that's when me and my brother fly to meet the partners of this big immigration firm. And that was like our first big client.
Wow. And
And
this
that,
happened after you rebranded?
yeah.
Oh, wow.
We're
Okay.
already focusing. I don't know, social media at that time. I can't remember, but the website, we were
The
Lex
website.
Documents already. The copy changed, the message was changing, the
Amazing.
efforts were changing. And this big client, that by the way ended up being a great client, and it's been part of what's Lex Documents today. So we're starting working for this big immigration firm. Listen, I need you to do all the work in Spain. Then they called us, listen, I need you to operate in France. So we opened an office in France. We did all the work in France for this company. They came back to us, listen, I need you to work in the Netherlands. I have a big project for a big tech company. They're moving, I don't know how many people. I need the document support and layer and
Wow.
extension built in this country. And we started working with this big immigration firm by the hand. We became a big family in 2010, 2011, and that was like the real turning point for a company. This big client that ended up being a great client. I think that's really important for business. Not only what the funders or the entrepreneurs can do, but having the luck to get a good client, to have
Mhm.
good clients. So that
I
was
agree.
that lead through a website. Year 2009, 2010 was like the spark to what Lex Document is today.
How, so I'm just curious, you flew to this headquarters. How did the conversation go? Because you did one case for them. You did one
Yeah, I
case
think it
and
was
you did
one
such a
case
great
or
job.
maybe
Yeah.
two or three
Maybe
cases,
two. Yeah.
but and we had a call. I don't know if or we had video conference at that time,
Yeah.
but it was it was so casual, nice immigration lawyers. It was nothing fancy. We met the partners. Everything would flowed. We had a good relationship. I even became friends with this immigration lawyer.
Hmm.
He came to visit us. We went to visit him. He met my family. So it was building the relationship with
Hmm.
this immigration lawyer that
Hmm.
opened this huge immigration firm to us.
Amazing. So, okay, so you're building the business effectively to support this big law firm. At the same time, are you starting to get other clients? Are you, now that you're also operating in France and operating in the Netherlands, are you starting to advertise this, more, broadly? Like, how did you start to grow the business then outside of this one client?
So this client gave us some oxygen.
Hmm.
They gave us some financial funding as well, and to start like building, improving, reinvesting. We started targeting this type of companies. The recommendations also, we started working with so many lawyers. Lawyers and case managers sometimes move between companies
Mm.
and these big companies. So when someone from the consular team of one of our clients moved to a different company or a different immigration or global mobility firm or relocation company, the first thing they did was call us. Listen, I moved to this company. I have a new project. I need you to onboard. I need to onboard Lex Document now as the document and consular service extension. So that was like what really helped us. Good reputation, extremely good service, and word of mouth. And as you know, if someone moved to a different company, they called us. They said, "Listen, Eduardo, I need you to I need you onboarded now with this new
Mm.
company." And that's when the ball started growing and growing, and new big good immigration firms. We've been really lucky, Roman, really lucky with our clients. So we owe so much for to the clients, really.
Yeah.
And obviously
You know,
to employees and to the people who have made, if the service was not as good, we wouldn't have this type of recommendations and people calling us without
so let's
even
talk
reaching.
so let's talk a little bit about the service, because obviously around this time is when you pivoted. You started to support businesses. You started working with one immigration firm. There's two immigration firms. Tell me, what is Lex Documents sort of today? What are the main services that you provide? And maybe if you could talk a little bit about who your target audience is, especially if anyone who's listening here might find some use and some value in your business.
I like to call Lex Documents not like a document procurement or legalization or translation company. No, we've become like an extension to legal teams or to global mobility teams, not only in procurement or legalization, but in logistics. We navigate all the bureaucracy and all the logistics and all the operations part, all this document layer for, not right now, our biggest clients are obviously immigration firms, relocation companies, HR departments as well. We do work with companies directly with the global mobility department or HR department. So we become like an operations, and logistics layer and extension of these teams.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because it's not only, as you know, it's not only getting the document and the translation, it's strategy, it's handling the traveler or the employee or the people who, or the client, it's navigating the government entities. It's we do have clients from that have lived in different countries, so we need to get documents in different countries at the same time. So it's not getting procurement, apostilles, and translations. We've become like this extension to these companies, especially for immigration firms. Like that's like our top clients right now.
If a firm doesn't use Lex Documents, how do they typically do it on their own? Because I'm trying to picture, what
It's
does this sort of quote unquote manual or DIY version of this look like?
I think it's a nightmare, to be honest, Roman. If you have if you have a client who's been lived in 5, 6 countries before, or maybe he got married and divorced, or for some processes or for some immigration processes, they require all the police clearance from the last 5 years he lived. So I don't know if the client has to do it himself, it's a nightmare for the client, for the employee. If he has to do it himself or he has to rely on family members, it's not easy to get the documents. It's not easy to know the process of the logistics or the legalization um,
Mm.
route to get the document well legalized. It's not easy to get everything together without one document getting expired and the other one it's not getting in. So I don't know, companies, if they do it with different vendors, that's another option. One of the good things I want to sell about Lex is that it's one point of contact to all the
Mhm.
countries. I think we operate in 35 countries. We have around 12, 14 own offices across the globe with in-house teams, plus excellent vendor and partner relationships in different countries. But our clients just have one point of contact, one email address, one dedicated team, and we do everything. Listen, I need this client is going from point A to point B. I need all the requirements. I need all the documents. I need all the translations. I need all the legalizations. I need you to book medical appointments. I need you to accompany to the
Wow.
medical appointment. I need you to translate. I need you to book the consulate appointment. I need you to pay the fees at the consulate. I need you to take the passport to the consulate. So that's what we're doing, and that with
Wow.
one point of contact. Exactly. That's like the core business of Lex.
That even you listing out all of those things gave me some anxiety thinking about all the different things that you have to
I
do.
think
You know, I'm very blessed as a US passport holder that I can travel, like I go for conferences and or just as a as a tourist, it's pretty easy. I show up somewhere, or I apply online. When I went to India for the first time 2 years ago, you know, as a tourist, it was not a big deal, but just filling out that government form, figuring out the documents I needed, and selecting the correct. They have an interesting like time duration. Do you need up to 90 days? Do you need 90 to 180 days? 180 to 365 days. Will you be going to any conferences? I wasn't sure exactly which visa to apply for. I think I got the right one. I don't remember now, but it was a lot of nuance. And that was just me as a U.S. passport holder going to India for a week. I can only imagine the level of technicality, making the right decisions. Am I filling the form out correctly? Do I have the right documents for somebody that's maybe coming from a country that has more requirements, or maybe the passport isn't quote unquote as strong, and so the destination requires more evidence. Yeah, it sounds like a headache.
The compliance part is a nightmare as well.
Mm-hmm.
So luckily we work with immigration lawyers that know exactly what's the type of visa, what are the requirements, what you need to be compliant, what are you doing if you are working your business. So it's a good team. When we work with our clients, we have the legal part plus the operations and logistics part together.
So because look, I've talked to a lot of immigration tech founders on the show and immigration lawyers who kind of run a law firm, and it's a very tech law firm. Your business is unique. That's why I really was excited to have you on the show, because you again support all these different types of law firms and immigration, in-house immigration teams, RMCs, everybody in the kind of across the industry. Can you paint a picture of what does it mean for a company to, like a law firm, to work with you, or maybe an RMC to work with you? Do you have some tools or portals or something? I mean, I know this is a little bit of a sales pitch for you, but I just genuinely think it would be useful to the audience, to the listeners in my network, to just understand, what does a company like Lex Documents do? Because I think there aren't that many competitors maybe to you, or maybe they do a little bit of what you do, but not everything that you do. So these law firms they do a lot of this themselves. So what does it look like to work with you? Do they log in somewhere? You're like, yeah, if you can share a little bit of information about that.
We have two communication channels. We have a portal that, to be honest, what we found some friction with clients using this portal, because most of the big companies already have a portal. Mm-hmm. So I think 80% of our communication right now with clients, it's happening through a help desk. They just open a case. We have one email address, just one email address for all our services and countries. So they just send us an email. Listen, I need this. If they already most of our clients already know what they need. I need this document, or I need this translation, or this legalization, or I need this type of visa. I need the confirmation of this type of visa requirements. We are very. That's a good question, because I like to be really personalized with our service, very human, and I think that's been one of the strong points also about Lex Documents. I know there's a lot of portals right now and AI portals. Our clients still like a human responding with the requirements and asking questions with the emoji, or how are you doing today? Hello, whatever, Carmen. So they get a response. We have really strict SLAs for our clients. They get a response immediately with requirements, estimates, forms, POAs, process, outline of the process. Once the case is approved, with all the documents we require from the client or the company, once the case is approved, we have a really robust also software, like operations project management software. We open this case for the client, and this is automatically assigned to the operations firm. For example, country. If we get a service from France to Saudi, immediately the office in France gets the case assigned, and that's when the the project starts like working. So we have case managers who are in constant communication and giving feedback and updating the client with exactly what's happening on the ground. And the same case managers working through the project management system with the operation, with the boots in the ground that I call,
Mhm.
So if they have to go to the consulate, if they have to go to the notary, if we have a new requirement, if the documents are ready. So it's totally 100% all the time feedback and updates to our client. And I think that's been really, really important for us. And we want to keep it that way, Roman.
I saw that you recently, I mean, you shared on LinkedIn that you had your like ISO 27001
Well, I don't know if
certification. How does
Minerva,
that?
I don't know if Minerva is watching, but she was like the project manager for this ISO, and I did not get really involved with this, but it was a really big milestone for us.
So how does that affect, the work, how you support clients, or yeah, how clients look at you as a
It's
partner?
compliance, it's security, it's GDPR, it's cybersecurity. We have really secure systems, softwares. Everything is really to get the certificate. Minerva and the team and the tech team, IT team had to go through a lot of changes. I really did not get too much involved, Roman, to
As you
be
should.
honest, in
Yeah.
this part. But I know it was like a 6-month work to be
Yeah.
compliant, so we're totally secure. And here in Europe, the GDPR is really strict.
Right.
So, and most of our clients expect that from us. So that's actually how we did it. So we take really, really seriously the compliance and the security part with, especially if we're handling sensitive documentation and personal
Right.
documentation.
Which of course, death certificates, birth certificates,
It's
marriage
personal.
certificates,
It's
financial
sensitive.
documents.
Medical
Yeah.
exams, passports,
Medical. Yeah.
IDs. So we take really serious the
Yeah.
compliance and the
Because I
security
think
part.
right now, the reason I specifically asked that is because most I don't want to say most, but many, many tech companies in the industry now are focused on AI, which is great because AI makes things faster, it automates things, etc. But one of the biggest questions around AI is when I interact with an AI platform, how is the information that I'm using being stored? How is it being secured? Who has access to it? What can happen to it? Right. And so that's why I bring this up because, while most companies are in our industry obviously do their best, sometimes it's out of their control. If they're wrapping something on top of ChatGPT or Claude, it's a little bit more difficult, or could be more difficult to fully control how that data is used. Whereas if you have, a platform that doesn't kind of run on its own from an AI perspective, it's more of a, technology, like I don't know, it feels weird to say traditional technology, but kind of a, case management platform, which doesn't have all this like AI based automation running in the background. Sometimes it can potentially be, or at least appear to be, more secure, for that kind of information.
Totally. And it's a difficult question, Roman. I think everybody is scared with this part. What's happening with my information, what's happening with my document. Is the I don't know, AI being trained with my information. So we're taking the really on this AI part. I know what I know right now is that it's helping us automate part of like the admin work. We are not
Mhm.
fully AI company. It's helping us reduce time and I don't know, document folder document verification. It's built inside. Security part is totally taken care of. I know Minerva has everything totally compliant with AI. So me as the managing director, I'm focusing in small wins. I don't want to go very too fast on AI. We're already implementing quick wins with automation, repetitive tasks, making our case managers' life easier. But I'm still trying to understand exactly where everything is going. But what I'm really sure is that I don't want to be a full automated
Mhm.
and AI company. That's
Mhm.
not like our core and our culture. We want leverage, and we want to scale with AI, but we want to keep our case managers human, saying good morning, sending the emoji, answering exactly what it is, and answering the phone, and working in strategy with with our clients.
Yeah,
So
I definitely.
it's helping us. It's helping us. We're reducing times. We reducing admin. It's helping us reduce errors. It's helping us answer quicker. Even though we are answering our own, we don't have a bot answering, but
Mhm,
it's making us quicker.
mhm. Which is frankly how AI should be used. You know, in
Exactly.
my from my perspective, you know, I go to conferences where immigration lawyers are and others in the immigration industry are worried about whether AI will take their jobs. And I've had this conversation before, even on this show. And the reality is, I think most people are waking up and realizing that it's not really going to take anybody's jobs.
Mhm.
The bigger what people say is AI won't take your job, but the lawyer who uses AI will win over the lawyer who does not use AI. And that's the reality. And lawyer
Absolutely.
is not just the
Absolutely.
immigration lawyer, it's everyone in the across the industry, all the paralegals, all the case managers, the in-house mobility people, etc.
Absolutely. In my companies, I want to hire more people. Actually, I want more case managers. I want to scale with human, even though
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna use AI to be better. But
Mm-hmm.
that's not happening, and that's you get some inside legs. You get this fear as well from employees. So it's taking some time to make employees understand that they're not going to use they're not going to be replaced. When we launch or when we have a new implementation to make their life easier, I can see they're like, what is this? I don't want to
Yeah.
use it. Where are you going? So it's trying to make employees and people understand that we're not going to replace anyone. I want to keep growing and scaling with AI and with real humans.
So as we start to wrap up here, tell me about maybe a little bit what's the future for Lex Documents. You know, I mean, I know you obviously are huge in the immigration global mobility space. You know, I know at least on your website there's some information about helping with documentation outside of international immigration and more into like international trade. Like, okay, you help people, you help companies move people. It sounds like you also help companies move stuff. So
Goods.
like what's your future, what's your vision or the company's vision for maybe the next 5-10 years for Lex?
Yeah, as you said, Roman, we're trying to expand our services to we move people. We want to start helping companies move goods and
Mm-hmm.
export, import. We're doing some work right now for the pharma industry. So that's part of the plan. We want to, even though we're going to keep on growing with global mobility and this industry, we want to start helping companies that are exporting and importing services and goods. Or there's a lot of documentation required as well in this
Mm-hmm.
industry.
Yeah, what are
So
some of the overlaps that you see?
the legalization part, the documents need to be legalized. For example, for the pharma industry, the CPP, this is like a product document that the destination country requires for all the details of the product. This needs to be translated. This needs to go through different government entities sometime, maybe through the health minister, not the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. But most of the legalization part is overlap. So we can leverage our structure, we can leverage our systems, our software. So it's like a natural way to grow.
What, I guess, do you find that you're able to leverage the same people or offices for that kind of work, or how
Definitely.
does, because it feels like a natural extension, but I don't know
Yeah,
anything about
yeah,
international trade.
definitely. At the end of the day, it's as I say, an extension. We become an extension. It's logistics,
Right,
it's operations,
right.
it's
Yeah.
navigating government entities, it's knowing how to legalize a document, it's knowing how to procure a CPP or medical certificate. So we have the systems, we have the software, we have the structure, we have the the people, so it's natural for us, and we're starting to get some very interesting clients and companies in this area.
You know, if this continues the way that your other business grew, you're going to get one client who sends an inquiry through your
Yeah.
website, and then
Yeah.
you get to scale the whole trade division or pharma division. So
Let's hope so.
yeah, that's awesome. So I usually like to end the episodes with a kind of an interesting, hope for me, question. A lot of people like to ask, what advice would you give yourself when you were younger, or what advice would you give to? But I like to ask a different question. I like to ask the question of where you, Eduardo, are now in your business, in your life. What advice are you listening to now? What advice are you taking from other people that's very important to you right now?
What advice am I taking from other people right now?
Yes.
It could be show up, like do the things, show up, give it a try, um, try to expand, and try to get a new industry, go to a conference, join a show, a podcast. That would be like a good advice that I'm getting from people that I trust and rely on. Like, show up and do the things.
Amazing.
That would be like
That's
that would be like the phrase, show up. You don't have to be
I love.
perfect. Just show up and do your best. And in that aspect, in business, in personal relationships, and family, just show up.
I love that. That's
That would be the advice I like, and I'm getting
yeah,
from people.
and you'd probably give that advice as well. I mean, I think that's an ideal way to end the episode. Just show up. So I
Show up.
appreciate that. Thank you, Eduardo. This was awesome. Really great conversation. I loved learning a little bit more about you, and obviously sharing your story with Lex Documents. Where can people find you? And connect
Happy
with you.
to help, Roman. It's a real pleasure always speaking with you on video and personally on a bar. So thank you for the invitation, and it's always so easy with you, Roman.
I appreciate that. So folks should follow you on LinkedIn, definitely. Eduardo Silva on all of the posts, whether you're watching or listening on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Spotify. So Eduardo, your link will be there. And also, I guess, lexdocuments.com is the website for people to find you guys. So thank you. I know it's late in Spain, so I will let you go, but I appreciate your time, Eduardo. It was wonderful to chat with you.
I'm going to have some tapas now and some cañas.
And a little bit of wine.
A little bit of
Awesome.
wine, so it's good. Thank you, Roman.
Thank you, Eduardo. It was awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
What a great episode. We had a bunch of other comments I didn't get to. Roberta said, with your passport, using your Costa Rican passport to go to India, how easier it is. And thank you, Roberta. She said, thank you so much for an amazing podcast. Your business model and history are a great inspiration from Eduardo. So thank you, Roberta, for your comment. And of course, Eduardo, for the show. And of course, on my end, I want to say, again, a huge thank you to the main sponsor of this episode, e-immigration by Serenade. So, I mentioned this up top, but e-immigration is a company that's unlike most of the other immigration tech and case management companies in our industry. That are, not necessarily focused on immigration. And so that's where e-immigration is different. So e-immigration has been doing immigration case management for over 30 years. They're still family run, they're still independent, and you can still call them and talk to a person who picks up the phone and actually knows how immigration law firms run. On the tech side, e-immigration has built genuinely smart tech into their platform. They've got AI-assisted intakes, automated form prep, case tracking, and so much more. And firms that use them grow up to 3 times faster than the industry average. So if you do reach out to e-immigration and you set up a demo, they will donate $25 to Mobile Pathways, which is an immigration tech nonprofit that I am part of that's doing amazing work to provide legal access to immigrants. And if you sign up with e-immigration, you will get your first month for free. So do check them out. Visit eimmigration.com/GMI or visit the link in the show notes. So thank you to e-immigration. Thank you to all of you for checking this out, for your comments, for your likes, for your shares. I appreciate you. See you next week on the next episode of the GMI Rocket Show. And in the meantime, have a wonderful weekend and peace out.